I'd say just one thing on that. This is the best kind of oversight where the agency tells you where the waste is hidden. One thing on the jobs issue, because this is critical, and this doesn't impact my district either way. But the number one thing that we can do for jobs in this country is get our fiscal house in order. You can talk about jobs that the government funds here or jobs that the government funds there. That's a short-term approach that leads to nowhere and ultimately leads to cuts and elimination of programs because we are effectively bankrupt. So the number one thing that we can do for job growth in any district in America is to get our spending under control. And this is just a piece of it, but there are going to be a whole lot of pieces. And so I had someone in my district the other day say, what are you going to do for this particular county? And I said, the number one thing I can do for this county or any county in my district is get the federal budget back in order and get our fiscal books in balance. That's going to help job creation everywhere. Let me say something on that. I've heard arguments on both sides of this. And just because someone disagrees with me, but even on this issue, it doesn't mean that I should impugn their motives. There are legitimate arguments, as Representative Rooney was referring to, that relate to competition and long-term cost savings and all these things. So it's not. I think that at 30,000 feet, we're going to agree. A lot of us are going to agree that we ought to cut the waste. The question is, what I think is waste may not be what someone else thinks is waste, and I understand that. Some of that may be parochial. But the parochial aside, there are arguments to be made on both sides. I looked at the arguments, and based on the situation we have fiscally, I think that the best argument is get rid of this engine. But that does not mean that I am somehow belittling folks who disagree with me on this issue. I'll just talk in broad terms and tell you that the number one source of information on this, I think it's fair to say we're colleagues. What I did was I just asked a whole lot of people. I certainly talked to people who had an interest. You know, they had information that they wanted to provide to offices. But what I would do is walk up to people and say, hey, where are you on that engine? And I'd listen to what they had to say, and I'd take this bit of information or that bit and research it some more. And you know, I've got outstanding staff who did a lot of research for me. And I don't have a parochial interest in this either way. I just said I'm going to look at both sides, and so. Did you hear from the engine makers, both sides? I have heard from. I have not met with them all, but I have heard from them, and I know their views.